Ich darf jetzt als erste Rednerin auf die Bühne bitten, Donna Leon. Donna, I say quickly something in German about you. It's only good things. Donna Leon ist eine weltweit bekannte Bestseller-Autorin. Ihre Bücher bewegen uns, weil sie trotz Mord und Totschlag unsere Welt im Kleinen und Großen interpretiert und besser macht. In den vielen Jahren unserer Zusammenarbeit hat Donna Leon als Botschafterin Du Health immer Zeit gefunden, etwas zu bewegen, gemeinsam etwas zu bewegen. Und vor allem hat sie seit nun 8 Jahren das Thema für diesen Anlass immer bestimmt und sich dann auch durchgesetzt und hat immer ein Thema getroffen, was sie alle interessiert. Dieses Jahr, darf man sagen, hat sie das schönste Thema gewählt, nämlich Kunst und Musik und deren Einfluss auf unsere Gesundheit. Das passt zu Donna Leon, weil sie klassische Musik fördert und einfach eine Inspiration ist. Und we are now looking forward, Donna, to have you on stage. I will hand over to you. I said you are brilliant and that you interpret our world through murder in the details, in the bigger things and in the smaller things to make our world better. Donna, please come on stage.
That was meant to be one of the sacred days, one of the holy days for opera crazies. The 3rd of June, 1950, when Maria Callas sang Aida for the I don't know what time, and at the end of the second act, she sang a perfect E sharp for about 30 seconds, which something that had never been done. And since then has never been done. And it wasn't done today, because we didn't listen to the... Anyway. There is a point in that. I am of the opinion that beauty, because what most of the arts that we think of as arts have in common is that they are beautiful in some way. I think that this is a very good thing to expose people to. I think it is good for us to see and be aware of beauty. I think it helps us psychologically. I don't know enough to be able to say that it might help us physically, but one would like to think it does. I'm a follower of an orchestra. I am a lover of Baroque music. I am not a musician. I don't pretend to be a musician. I don't know anything about music, except that I like it, and it makes me happy. Seeing and hearing the beauty of an opera performance makes me happy. That's why I go. Not because I can say interesting things about this and that musically. I've been reading in the last couple of months about music and the brain, and I've learned a fair bit, which might have already been outmoded, because the progress in the study of the brain is jumping ahead almost as fast as they can write about it. One thing I've read is that the brain has a specific place for this and a place for that. Language goes in one place and map reading goes in another, but music sneaks in everywhere. At least according to the last thing I read, the human brain can absorb music in different parts where other things are absorbed, which I don't understand the mechanics of it, but I find it fascinating. Another thing I learned about music is how widely it is used in the treatment of people with Alzheimer's. It seems that people who have forgotten everything, who don't remember their family, who don't remember their name, they don't remember themselves, when they hear a piece of music that they love, they often recall the feeling that they had when they heard that music. They still don't know who they are. They still don't know who their family is, but they remember the beauty. I find this fascinating. We just don't know we don't know much, we don't know anything probably about the brain. I would like to tell a story about music and what it can do. About 15 years ago, I was working with another orchestra than the one I work with now. And we took a job to go on tour in Spain to take music, Handel's music, written about animals, the lion, the tiger, the this, the that, to schools. The last concert we had was in a school in a neighborhood, a very poor neighborhood in Madrid. We arrived, the kids walked in, the kids were fooling around with one another. The kids didn't want to be there. Classical music, are you crazy? So the kids all sat down and there was one kid who sat in the back and who really made a declaration of, I don't like this. He sat at least 5 seats in back of everyone, but on the side from everyone. So there was no one sitting near him. He was the alien. The concert started, a woman came out and explained in Spanish to the kids who were jumping around that these were musical pieces about animals. And then the conductor came out and they started playing. And little grumpy kid was, because he had to make a demonstration of how much he didn't want to be there. And it was a great demonstration. The second aria was sung, and then the third aria came out. The soprano for the third aria came out. And this kid stood up and conducted the rest of the concert because he had been watching the conductor. And so he helped him finish the concert. He conducted every note and did it very gracefully. When the concert ended, the kids filed out. Some of them asked for autographs. And then they left, and the little grumpy kid went up to and shook the hand of the conductor. I don't know what they said, but Alan could speak Spanish, so they said it in Spanish. And I was struck at the time, and I have been struck ever since, by what music did. I don't know about the rest of the audience, but what music did for this kid. He was no longer an alien at the time that he was conducting, because he was sharing the experience of music with other people. And I have thought of it many, many times that this was music that dug out some of the resentment and anger in him and left him just a little kid who was having a good time. Oh, the text. I got my hands on the text because I found some of it boring and I rewrote it. So those of you who have the German text are already confused. I'd like to read you the lyrics of the last aria that was sung. Poor kids, lousy neighborhood. Oh, that I on wings could rise, swiftly sailing through the skies, as skims the silver dove, that I might rest, forever blessed with harmony and love. And I think that what the kids sensed, because they were silent, they were absolutely mute during the concert, was that they had a taste of what music could do, because none of them had ever heard a note of classical music, I'm sure. Some people, now I'm jumping around. Some people believe that musicians are in it for the money. Maybe pop musicians are, but Baroque musicians are not. There's a theory that's become sort of a law. To become a competent artist or musician or craftsman, you need 10,000 hours of practice to become a master. 10,000 hours of practicing that art before you can become a master. And so if you make a calculation, musicians aren't in it for the money. I think that they are in it for what they can do with it. I once asked a number of my friends, my musician friends, why they did it, what they like about music. And I have some of their answers here. One is from an Italian mezzo-soprano who's going to be singing here next season. Go and see the Agrippina at the Opera House here. She says, I'm caught up in the quality of the sound produced, not just a line from a song or from a few bars of a famous opera aria. They can become an incredible source for lightening the soul. This is from a singer. In a way, it is a possibility to create something completely unique, unrepeatable, independent, personal. It was here, her use of the word unrepeatable, that struck me. And it was that made me think about the Maria Callas aria. Because what she did in June of 1950 is unrepeatable. Someone else might come and sing that same single note and prolong it for 30 seconds. But it won't sound like Callas. It will sound like another singer. And I think this is one of the mysterious things about music that makes it such a beautiful, elusive art. Also, it doesn't leave any evidence. I'm in the murder business, so I think about evidence. Music would be a great killer because it doesn't leave any traces. After you have gone to a concert, if you buy a book, you come out with a book. If you buy a painting, you come out with a painting. You get something from the other arts. But for music, you go in, you hear the concert, and you walk away and you don't have anything else except here and here. I find that magical. And music has always had that reputation of being a more ephemeral art. This has nothing to do with what you're reading, so you might as well stop reading. What else? This is from the other artist. This is another mezzo-soprano. She talks about her colleagues, who were the singers who sang Baroque music at the beginning in 1730 something. Getting to know my colleagues of old like this has been very helpful to me through the years. Not only can I estimate how high or low a role is, but I can find out where will be the coloratura, which tessitura will be centered around this music, a lot of pathos or light and fluttering. If I know for whom it was written, I can accept a part without even having seen it because I already know what to expect. I think those people who have no exposure to movies, opera stars, opera divas, have no idea of how hard they work and how they work all the time, every day. Another catch with this 10,000 hours thing is that you have to practice every day. And all of my musician friends practice every day, which is a lot more than I do, obviously. People sometimes ask me, Miss Leon, do you listen to music when you're writing? And I have learned over the years to be a kinder person, and so I respond, no, I don't listen to music when I'm writing. And when I go to the opera, I don't take a book. And then they get it. That either you listen to music or you read a book. That it's overload to ask your brain to do both. There was one other thing. Yeah. Let me close with another quotation from this one from a pianist. I don't think I'm forgetting anything vital. This is a world-famous pianist, Angela Hewitt, Canadian. I asked her, what do you feel? What do you feel when you play? And she wrote back and said, it's impossible to describe what one thinks when one plays. Of course, the notes, always the notes, because if not, you go wrong and you forget. But also sound projection, line, dynamics, the audience, noises you hear, a hair in your eyes that you can't do anything about because you can't touch it. I don't know, 10 million things. But still, there's this huge concentration on what you're doing. And of course, the emotion, which has to go in the every single note. Every note. Have you any idea how exhausting that is? No, I don't. And I think those of us who aren't musicians have no way or no reason that we would understand musicians and how hard they work unless we lived with one. And I don't. Yeah, obviously I am a junkie. But I brought along from the tech people something that I offer in praise of my second country, Switzerland, because I am now a citizen and proud to be one. One of the reasons is in this, that there is a radio program. It's a little reason. There are other reasons. There is a radio program called the afternoon one, where the people call up with the telephone call, telephone and music, classic telephone. People call up and ask for music to be offered as a gift to a friend. Could we hear the first one, the first voice?
Wenn ich anrufe, wird immer Barock gewünscht. Das ist eine von meinen grossen Lieben, Barock. Heute gerne ein Stück von Antonio Lotti, Italiener, 1667 in Venedig auf die Welt gekommen. Ich freue mich, wünsche allen einen schönen Tag und eine gute Woche. Ade miteinander.
And another one?
Ich wünsche mir für den Dienstag aus den Goldberg-Variationen von Johann Sebastian Bach 2 Variationen. Ich überlasse die Wahl Ihnen. Wenn möglich spielt vom kanadischen Pianist Glenn Gould. Vielen Dank und allen einen schönen Tag.
And the third one?
Ich habe immer Freude, wenn Schubert-Lieder in Ihre Sendung kommen. Und da wünsche ich mir wieder mal ein Schubert-Lied. Ich habe jetzt als Vorschlag die Forelle.
Just think of this. These are people, and very often the calls come in from little places that no one has ever heard of. This really is the voice of the people, and they display day after day and week after week and year after year a really sophisticated taste in classical music. I think this is one of the greatest proofs of what civilization can bring people, that this culture is deep in their hearts and is, to go back to what I said at the beginning, is a way to show love. Because there's very little else you can do with music but love it and try to suggest to people that they learn to love it too. And before I begin a sermon, I think I'll stop. Thank you.
Donna, thank you very much. This was wonderful, and I'm really. This is also the antique Christmas and vitamin D and omega-3, and I would like you to take that for a moment and keep standing here.
Oh, my surprise.
Now comes the surprise. I have a bit of a person, the co-director of the Center on Aging and Mobility, Andreas Ekli. And wait a second. So Donna Leon is receiving. No. Donna Leon is receiving awards from around the world. It's for writing the murder stories, the Commissario Brunetti. By the way, she just signed a contract with Disney. Woo! And we felt we want to give Donna an award from all of us for being our light and inspiration. And so, Donna, this is your award for being you, for making every email that you write so much fun, for keep writing, and for being our light and inspiration. Donna, thank you so much. And Max, your bodyguard will come and do the installation. It only takes 2 nails here, and then it goes to the wall. A big applause for Donna Leon. It has a bow. If you want, it's going to be delivered to your house.
No, I want to walk through the streets of Zurich like this.